Good evening, everybody. Yes, welcome to another installment of Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And of course, I'm Nurse Charlene. But anyway, welcome on in, you guys. I gotta go put some people on real quick and everything. But in the meantime, um, tonight's topic is I didn't write the whole thing up there that I'm gonna talk about, but it actually means almost the same thing and everything. And the topic is vaccines. Woo! Okay, I'm the only one clapping up. But anyway, it's the vaccines and immunizations. And what does that really mean? They always giving us, I ask for the flu shot, and they give me the flu shot, and they give me the flu and stuff. I want to know what's really going on and stuff. But yes, that's what we're going to be talking about and stuff. So as everybody gets adjusted and gets ready to come on in and everything, I welcome you wholeheartedly and everything. And like I said, the more people that come on, or the more you talk and just drop me a line or something like that, the pumped up, I get through the subject, and everything. And I love to go and do a little back and forth with everybody in between and stuff. I prep all the time, so my boards change behind me according to what I'm doing and everything. And tonight it is vaccines and immunizations, or what I put above my head, the shot. They got to give me a shot, and stuff, whatever that might mean. So as you can see, I'm getting better with my drawing. So at the very top, I just want to say this real quick and stuff. At the very top, I have an arm, and it just says ouch, because I guess they hurt and stuff. But also I got me a little band-aid, because you get a band-aid like as if that really helps anything. And then I have some little vials of different immunizations, my take on it, and then the little needles and stuff like that and everything. So welcome on, Miss Sandra. She said, good evening, Nurse Charlene and Rosie. That's my mommy. Her and T are on. Welcome in, T, and stuff. Glad to see you on here tonight. We will be talking about vaccines and immunizations and that so-called conspiracy theory, because it is some out there. But I'm going to go over some stuff that's really important. So as we're talking about it, and everything and stuff, I'm going to be going over different things, why we're getting them, why they're even so-called important, and all of that stuff. And the whole little shot record, like behind me right here and stuff, the shot record. And those are oral vaccines and stuff like that, sometimes for the kids and stuff that they shoot up in your nostrils, different kinds of vaccines and stuff. And you got the flu shot, the tetanus shot, the RSV, respiratory syncytial virus shot, the measles shot, the mumps shot, the what is that? I can't see it. The shingle shot, the chicken pox shot, the COVID shot, the whatever this is. I don't know. I can't see it. But shot and stuff. So that's what I'm doing. Hey, welcome on, Miss Kiki. Thank you for coming on tonight and everything. It is Veterans Day, everybody. So thank you to all our veterans who either gave your life or put in work out there, and stuff, protecting our country and everything. I salute you. And I'm glad you're here, or I'm glad for the sacrifices you made to make us safer in this United States of America and everything. And God bless you, and God bless America. That's my take on it and stuff. We do definitely appreciate you and everything and stuff. Y'all welcome on in and stuff. Y'all came on the good subject. We talking about vaccines, because they be trying to kill us with these vaccines, huh? I'm gonna go ahead and give you the ups and downs to it. So I'm not saying that I'm super pro, but I'm not saying I'm super against, and stuff. I'm a healthcare worker, so I got to just give it to you the way I had to, how it was given to me and everything and stuff, if that makes sense and everything. So y'all welcome on in to Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. The topic is vaccines and immunizations and all things like that. So behind me is my little board. I like to put up little things and make little cartoony characters and everything. But they're serious because this is what's happening to us. Everybody been touched. Even if you couldn't say no when you was born, but you still got an immunization. So everybody's been touched by it and everything. But before I get started, let me go ahead and read my podcast disclaimer. And that is, the podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your physician for any medical concerns. If you have medical questions about a condition, reach out to a qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on a podcast. Guest views are their own and may not reflect the views of the host, that's me, or this podcast. The information shared is for general knowledge. It should not be used for any legal or medical purposes. And I always say this, I can't help you with your lawsuit, but if you're doing it in good faith, I hope you win. All right? Because we need to be getting it together by this time. Always consult with a licensed professional who knows your medical history for a meaningful evaluation. And stay informed, guys, but always seek professional advice when it comes to your health. Always seek professional medical advice. And as a matter of fact, if you're really suspicious about anything or everything, always research it yourself. Find out, does this really work? Or is they just saying this? Don't just believe this because it sounds good, because they say it cures this, that, and the other and stuff. Because if we believed everything everybody said, we'll probably die faster and stuff. So we need to make sure that if you're going to be suspicious about it, be suspicious about everything, not just because you don't like shots and because they hurt, and stuff. You need to be suspicious and evaluate everything, vet everything out if you're going to do it, and stuff. I don't like this doctor because they always doing this and he always looking in my ear. Well, find out why he's looking in your ear. Maybe because he said something to you and you didn't hear him the first 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times or something like that. So I need to see if she's hard to hear, and that might be why she doesn't understand or she can't hear, or something like that. So, so vet them out, vet it out. If I don't like vaccines because they always giving us this stuff. I went to the doctors and they told me I needed a flu shot. So I got the flu shot and then I got the flu. Do you know if you already was around somebody with the cold or something and you didn't get the flu, you got a cold and it just kind of wound up around the time that you got your flu shot? You can't blame it for everything because it has to make sense. Welcome on in, Rosie Granny Allen. That's my mommy, the matriarch of the family. And she said, "Hey, nurse Charlene, Rosie is watching. Bless you always. Let's go. Amen." All right, thank you, and I love you, mommy, and stuff. So I'm gonna start off the best thing I can do because it's in layman's terms, meaning it's medical talk in layman's terms, meaning keeping it simple so that somebody that knows nothing about the healthcare or the medical field can still be able to benefit from this podcast and the things that we're talking about and everything. A lot of us are well versed in, medical things and stuff like that, and that makes you even more susceptible to filter more in to yourself, and pick up good nuggets and everything, where somebody else, they don't know anything, but they'll know after tonight something, and everything. So I want to start off with kind of like the definition of vaccine, what I'm talking about tonight and everything. And so this is what one place says, and I have two different versions of it. One version is a vaccine trains your immune system. Immune system is the system in your body. You have a whole bunch. You got a respiratory system for breathing. You got your cardiovascular system. You got your gastrointestinal system, and all these different systems in your body that make up you and in any human being and stuff. And so the immune system is your body's protection. It's the one that responds to things when you have an infection or something. It's going to respond to that and try to fight off infection. So therefore, the immune system is for our immunity, to keep our immunity up. It's our soldiers. It's our fighter soldiers. I'm talking about, it's Veterans Day, and I'm talking about the soldiers that protect us. Well, your immune system is your protection of your body, if that makes sense, and everything. So the immune system, a vaccine trains your immune system to recognize a disease causing a germ, like a virus or a bacteria, so your body can fight it off faster and more safely than if you just caught it, the illness itself. And vaccines prevent serious illnesses, hospitalizations, long-term complications, and death for both the person vaccinated and for the people around them. So when you vaccinate yourself, you're not just vaccinating yourself and taking that shot and, oh, it hurt, oh my God, and everything and stuff, but it's actually protecting your loved ones, the people that you live with in your same household and everything. So when they do it, they protect you from whatever they can catch, but when you do it, you protect them from whatever you can catch, and everything. So it's a win-win situation most of the time. There is some anomalies to that and everything, and I'll be talking about those a little bit later. So the other thing that I wanted to go into before I start telling you about immunizations and age groups and stuff like that is I want to tell you another way of looking at the vaccination. It stimulates the body's own immune system, the protector of your body, your immune system, to protect the person against subsequent infections or diseases. It is a simple, safe, and effective way of protecting you from harmful diseases before you come into contact with them. It uses your body's natural defenses to build resistance to specific infections and makes your immune system stronger. Makes your army, which is your immune system, stronger or more well-versed because they've been there before. So they fought that war before. It wasn't the same exact thing, but when the big disease comes, it's a little bit stronger. It can knock the heck out of it, the fairy out of it and everything a lot quicker than if you didn't have nothing at all. Immunization, that's another definition I want to give you, is the process of giving a vaccine to a person to protect them against disease. Immunity is your protection, like I said, and by immunization is similar to the immunity a person will get from the disease, but instead of getting the disease, you get the vaccine so that it remembers the disease. So it's like, oh yeah, I fought you before and I fought you off. Now, oh, you coming for me? Okay. So if you understand that, then that makes a lot different, a difference. So some examples, that I came up with. One is your body is protecting itself 24/7. It doesn't know how not to protect itself. From a baby, when you come out, from a baby in the womb and stuff, your body is always protecting itself. And it comes in the form of your immune system, if that makes sense. So then also, another way of protecting itself is, we got these nice, luscious eyeballs, and, we yawn and stuff like that, and tears, and they're lubricated and everything and stuff. But what if our eye just stayed open hour after hour after hour, and they never shut? And stuff. And we never went to sleep, and our eyes never shut. What would happen? They would dry the heck out. They wouldn't function correctly and stuff. So, when you're asleep, your eyes are supposed to close, unless we have some type of problem with our eyes or something like that, and they never close and stuff. Then of course, that's another problem in itself. But your eyelids are supposed to protect your eyeballs. That's why you blink. That's why if a fly come flying at your face, the first thing you do is blink, and or whatever. If somebody come to hit you in your eye or something like that, you try to close the eyelids, it probably doesn't help. You probably still get a black eye, but it's tried to protect it, and stuff like that. So if something comes near it or something like that, that's the first thing you do is you blink, you try to protect it. So your eyelids are so important because they are actually protecting it and keeping it lubricated and keeping it moist, and stuff. And if they're not moist, you got a problem. That's called dry eye, and it's a problem, and it's medicine for it. So I'm saying that to say, you see how important that is. Another thing is the skull. You got a bone, the skull, that protects your brain. If we didn't have a skull, like the actual nugget, the bone that protects your brain, what would happen to your brain? I don't even want to know. I'm glad I got a skull. I don't know if everybody else got one, but I'm glad I got one and everything. Yeah, your brain will be in trouble. Welcome on in, Antoinette, cousin Antoinette. I'm glad to see you on. Yes, I just started. I'm talking about, the topic is vaccinations and immunizations, and it's called the shot. Welcome on in, Madeline. That's the one that keep me beautiful with my beautiful braids and stuff. My whole life, this woman then braided my hair and stuff. Welcome on in, my dear, and stuff. Glad to see you come on. I'm talking about vaccinations and immunizations, and because it's fitting because it's Veterans Day. We're talking about the protector of your body, which is your immune system. That's why we give vaccinations, and everything, to protect us from diseases and everything. Like the veterans protecting America from, in war and everything, and fighting for our rights and everything. So I'm not trying to put them all together and stuff. I'm just saying, our vets protected us. And then, our immune system protects our bodies, and stuff, and their bodies and everything. So moving on to, I was talking about protection, like our skull protects the brain and stuff. Guess what else protects the body? Our skin. Could you imagine if you didn't have no skin? What would happen? And stuff. So the skin is protecting whatever's behind the skin. So the skin is a protective mechanism and everything. So you see where I'm going with this? Your eyelid that blinks, that causes you to blink, it protects your eyeball, and stuff. Your skull protects your brain that's inside of your skull. Your skin protects the whole body because the skin is everything. Even our fingernails are a part of the skin system. Different things. Our hair is a part of the skin system and everything. So it's protecting us. That's why you get little, tingly senses and stuff. The hairs on your neck stand up. They're sensitive. they're looking like who coming, what's happening, why are you, and stuff like that. Everything is there to protect you, and they all have a different job, but they are there to protect you and everything, and so on and so forth. So that's why I brought that up and everything. So I think I covered that and everything. So then I'm going to go on to some things like anybody with small children, grandchildren, and different things like that and stuff. Why they be shooting the babies and stuff? As soon as they get out and stuff, they get all these little medicines and stuff like that. They get all that little ointment on their eyes when they brand new newborns and stuff. They give them a shot and they take some blood from the bottom of their foot and all of that stuff. That's just so mean, huh? No, it ain't. No, it ain't. And stuff. It's a reason behind all of that and stuff, because they got to start protecting baby, because now it's out of the mother. So they have to start protecting baby at hour one, minute one, of them coming out of their mother, and stuff. It doesn't matter what it is, a human baby and stuff like that. So that's the whole point and everything. So vaccines most often are given on routine schedules for children, adolescents, adults, and everything in the United States, with simple notes on indication and timing. The schedules usually change from year to year when they want you to do it. Sometimes they want you to do it twice a year and so on and so forth. So you'll see them pushing flu shots. It's flu season now, or this shot or that shot and different things. As you get older, they want you to have this, and this. And as children, they got to go to the doctor and get shots. So they don't like the doctor. Children don't like the doctor because they're giving them shots. But they're giving them what they need so that they survive. You don't want to be in there with your child hospitalized over something that they could have had a vaccine to, and everything. So that's why I said when people come up with these, not even conspiracy theories, it's just when you come up with this stuff, they ain't gonna be shooting my baby up with this, that, and the other and stuff. She don't need no measles shot. I ain't never even heard of no measles. That's because everybody got their shot. And stuff. So that's why you don't hear about measles that much, because they're already being vaccinated for it so that their body remembers it so they can fight it off. They build up an immunity or resistance to it and everything and stuff. So that's why, chicken pox it's around, but it's not, as much as it used to be and stuff. That's why polio is not around. My cousin down the street got polio or something. Yeah, you don't hear that. Oh, they got the bubonic plague. We got vaccines for these things and stuff. By no means did I say a cure. I said a vaccine. That means that your body is able to remember. When we shoot our body with these vaccines and stuff, our body, our fighter cells, which is our immune system, goes to that site and it whoops on it and stuff. You don't belong here. You got to go and stuff. So it start fighting with it. So it feel like it's a fight in your arm. So it get hot there sometimes. It get painful and you got to move it around. Ooh, that thing hurted and stuff like that. But that's your body. You glad that it's hurting. What if it didn't hurt at all and stuff? Then that means that your immune system might not be working, or it didn't go up there and call and see that it was a problem, and stuff like that. Your immune system, anything foreign coming in there, or it deems necessary as foreign, it wants to go whoop its butt. But when we get a vaccine, what it's doing is it's whooping a weaker version, but then it remembers that. So it knows that anybody from that family with that family name, if they come up in here into our house and stuff, we going to whoop it. But now it remembers it. So that flu that you would have normally caught and never had a flu shot and you normally caught and stuff, that flu is going to be 10 times less debilitating to you. You're going to heal from it faster and all of that just from having the flu shot. Because no, they can't just give you COVID again. Yeah, they they don't have enough money. It ain't enough Medi-Cal, Medicare, whatever. It ain't enough Blue Cross or Nobody Cross, to cover that. They can't afford to even get you sick like that. But they can afford to make your body remember that this is COVID. So anything like this, any of his little cousins or friends or best friends or husband or wife of this COVID and stuff, you are to whoop it on sight. If that makes sense. That's what your immune system is like. Oh, I got my orders. So as soon as I see something that don't look right, I'm going to attack and stuff. And what it does is it makes it stronger. So it's going to attack, but it's going to whoop it, and everything. Welcome on in, Auntie Barbara. Thank you for coming on. Yes. We're talking about vaccines and immunizations. And I'm just talking about your immune system, which is a wonderful system of your body that protects you and everything. So protecting you, that means that it's on assignment. So when they get one of these vaccines, they're not giving you the disease they can't afford to and stuff. But I'm going to tell you about that because I'm gonna give you the conspiracy theory. There's a couple things where I'm going to have a guest on who her son received the COVID vaccine and succumbed to the injury of that vaccine. Now, there's rare cases where when you get a certain vaccine or something like that, it can kill you, and stuff like that. So that's why they ask all these little dumb questions. Are you allergic to eggs and stuff like that? Because there's a certain amount of things, but sometimes they're not ready for that difference because we're so different. Our DNA and stuff is so different that sometimes you can't have the flu shot, or you're not a good candidate for the COVID vaccine or something like that. And there are rare cases where that can happen and stuff like that. But I'm going to let this young lady come on and speak her truth. But also she's going to hip us to some other things and natural remedies that she has tried that has really helped her family and everything and stuff like that. But I'm going to have a lot of different people on that are experts in certain things that I talk about so that you guys get some good stuff, and everything. So then if you're feeling like, I don't take no vaccines from nobody and I don't do this and I don't be getting no mammograms or no prostate stuff. I don't want nobody doing what they be doing to get my prostate and this and that and stuff. But if you didn't, then what happens when you get what they're trying to prevent? Yeah, nobody wants to know that. Nobody wants to come across that. But that's what the reality is and everything. So that's why it's so important that we do this, even as a little baby. So going back to where I started at with the little babies, why they got to get a little baby a shot and why they doing this and taking blood from the baby and stuff. They so crazy. And so, yeah. And if they didn't, what would happen when you get your baby home and your baby is no longer with you and everything? So let them do what they have to do. They have proven otherwise, and stuff. If they don't do it and stuff, it's going to be a problem and everything. So we're going to go to, for infants and children, one of their first vaccines is going to be their hepatitis B. Hepatitis or hepato means your liver. Your liver is it cleans out toxins in your blood. So the liver is very important. You got kidneys that clean out stuff in your blood. Liver is also one that cleans out toxins inside of your body and everything. So we need these things. They're cleaners. They clean up the scene so that we don't be toxic in the inside and die from being toxic, and everything. So we need our liver to be in working order. We need our kidneys to be in working order. We need a lot of things that we take almost for granted to be in working order so that we can live and not die and everything and stuff. So that's what a liver is. So liver B or hepatitis B, it prevents liver infection And I told you liver is the detoxifier. It cleans out toxins in the body. And it's given at birth and then in infancy in series of 0 months, 1 to 2 months, you'll get another shot. And then 6 to 18 months, you'll get another shot, depending on which vaccine they give you of the hepatitis B vaccine. And then it's another one that's called DTaP, and it stands for diphtheria. No, never mind what that is. It's the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. We don't want, and we don't want. So this is for babies, infants, and children. And it protects the babies and children from against whooping cough. I know you heard of it. If you've ever had a kid or had a kid around you, you heard of whooping cough, and it's a serious toxin medicated disease. And then also multiple doses in infancy and a Tdap, which is a booster. And that's in early adolescence. That would be your 12 on up to 18. And with pregnant women in each pregnancy, they will get a Tdap, if that makes sense. Then there's also, and this is for infants and children right here, or adolescents and stuff, it's a polio vaccine. And it prevents paralytic or paralyzing polio. Paralyzed means to take all function from that area, either your legs, your arms, or your body and stuff. It paralyzes you. So there's a paralytic polio and stuff. And so you get the polio vaccine for it. And the series is given in infancy and then early childhood. That will be your 1 to 8 years old and everything. And then you have MMR. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but if you have children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, or so on and so forth, you might have heard of it. It stands for measles, mumps, and rubella. Never mind what they are. You don't want, and you don't want. And this is children. They got to go through all of this so that as adults, you don't get this and everything. Hey, welcome on in, Aleda. She said, hello, sister. Hello, sister. Welcome on in. Thank you for coming on. We're talking about vaccines and immunizations. And I'm doing the children. So this is even for your son and everything and stuff. So measles, mumps, and rubella. And it's given in 2 doses. One in the childhood, and it's highly effective at preventing measles and the complications from it. Measles is really bad. It's just as bad as chickenpox, and everything. It's painful and all other. It's bad. It's really bad. And then they have one called varicella or the chickenpox. Everybody know about that. That's the little popcorn and stuff. Yeah, it's terrible. It is not funny and stuff. Chickenpox, and that one is given for children in 2 doses. One in childhood to prevent chickenpox, and then later in adulthood to prevent shingles, which is a spinoff from chickenpox. In childhood, the spinoff is shingles and stuff, and we'll talk more about that. And then there's another one. It's another one that they give, and it's called the HIV shot, and it's basically like a pneumococcal vaccine, so it protects against bacterial infections in young children, and these are some of the things that it protects against, and that is meningitis. So the meninges are on your brain. We don't need those inflamed. So meningitis is meninges and inflammation of them, if that makes sense. And we don't want the kid to have that. That's the most painful virus type headache and stuff. I mean, it's to me, I feel like it's worse than COVID, and stuff like that. But it's horrible. And kids can get this, and young children, and stuff, all the way up to the age of 18 and stuff. And it's really bad and stuff. And this particular vaccine protects against that. And also not just meningitis, but pneumonia. Kids can get pneumonia. And guess what? Just like COVID, pneumonia leaves a scar on their lungs for the rest of their lives. Even they little tiny lungs and stuff. They little 8-year-old, 7-year-old lungs, little baby lungs and stuff like that. It's terrible and everything. Thank you, Rosie Granny Allen said, teach, nurse, teach. My. Good information. Thank you, Mommy. And stuff. Also bloodstream infections. So this HIV it's a Haemophilus influenza and a type B influenza and pneumococcal conjugate vaccine and stuff. Yeah, see all those names. Never mind those. Just know that these are vaccines that your kids most likely will come across, and so they need these vaccines. So I know it's mean old doctor always giving my baby a shot. They get on my nerves, and I gotta hold them down and pin them down and stuff. A lady said, "Thank you. This is so important." Absolutely, pin them down. They live to fight another day and stuff. Yes. Maria, thank you for coming on. That's my cousin Maria and stuff. She said, hello, everyone. And we're talking about vaccines. I'm on the kids part. So this one pertains to you right now and stuff as far as the children and why they got to get them shots. Even my little cutie pie and stuff that just had a birthday and stuff. I know he got a couple shots and you didn't want to pin him down. But yes, this is reality. But I'm talking about all the different shots and everything and stuff. And so that was that one. So meningitis, pneumonia, and bloodstream infections and stuff for the babies. Yes, the baby shots and stuff. They even get them when they first come out your stomach. They already getting shots and stuff. Be like, oh no, I hate the doctors. But yeah, no, it'd be the nurses that give them the shots. The doctors order it. Okay. But anyway, going down to I don't know, but anybody with young kids might have heard of the rotavirus. ROTA virus. And that one's an oral vaccine that they give to the children. This is children to adolescents and stuff. And I would say adolescents go all the way up to 18 and everything, but it's the ones under 12 and stuff, but it still goes up, and stuff. You have to have them by that time and everything. And it's an oral vaccine and it's to prevent infant diarrhea. So you see why they give them that little juice in their mouth and they, I hate y'all and stuff. That's what it's for and stuff. But I know it seems mean until they mess around and catch it. And what my friend Kiki said, faith around and find out and stuff. The babies even faith around and find out unless we get them vaccinated. I know all natural and stuff. Do you live where Dr. CB and them live? So how you know what your papaya went through before it got to Safeway and Lucky's? You know what I'm saying? And stuff. So that's why I'm gonna be doing something on that and stuff, just to let you know, where did your vegetable grow at? Did it grow in safe environments and stuff? Because if you want to be really, really supernatural, you need to find out where your stuff. Are you growing your food? Do you got the right dirt, and stuff like that? We could go into a whole molehill of that and everything. But I'm saying all of that to say that's how important this is and stuff. So before you come up with the conspiracy theory, just because you don't want to be uncomfortable by a shot or something like that, at least find out why you're really rejecting it. Is it because something happened? Is it because you had, Guillain-Barré disease, where you can't have flu shots and different shots? But find out why. But never please never give the excuse, I went and got me a flu shot before and I got the flu. Yeah, you already had the flu before you got the flu shot and stuff. It never happens the other way. Like, they don't just, let me just give everybody the flu so they can call in to work. Yeah, it's not gonna happen and stuff. So I'm gonna bust some of the conspiracy theory, but make no mistake, there is certain cases where these vaccines can be deadly to certain people. It depends on their DNA. It depends on what's going on with them. It depends on family genes and stuff like that. So there is instances where this can be bad for a child, adult, and so on and so forth and everything. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about in general and everything. And where did the bubonic plague go? Where did polio go? How many people with polio? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? How many people do you know with scarlet fever? Malaria. Okay, so you see where I'm going with that and everything. That's why I said this is, make no mistake, this is a medical emergency topic I'm talking about tonight. Okay, so then where am I going and stuff? I did the children. So now for adolescents, that would be above 8 on up to 18, and young adults, which will be your all the way up to 24 years of age. That will be young adults and everything. So for adolescents to young adulthood and everything, they have certain vaccines for you. So now you done went through all the other vaccines from baby to child and everything, all the way up to your adolescence and stuff. And then there's a couple more when you get to adolescence to young adult, all the way up to 24 years of age. And that would be your things like HPV or human papilloma virus. Do you know what that? Yeah. Okay, don't even try and stuff. Just know it's HPV, which stands for that human papilloma virus, and that prevents cancers, genital warts, and the routine starting at age 11 to 12. They can begin earlier than that. That's why I said 9, or something like that on up and stuff. But 11 to 12 is the so-called, but we didn't even know that 11 to 12-year-olds could get pregnant, and stuff like that. So you see where I'm going with this and stuff. There's some exceptions to the rule and everything, but we want to start at about age 11 to 12 or sometimes earlier, and with a catch-up dose in their mid-20s or older. And depending on the circumstances and depending on their lifestyle, some people get started very early by tragedy or whatever, but they get started early, and that's where that comes in at. Absolutely and stuff. Tony said none. I think you were talking about do you know anybody with scarlet fever or polio or bubonic plague? Who you met? I haven't met nobody yet. And I've been a nurse for 2 decades. I haven't met anybody yet. But if you meet somebody, let me know so I can stay away from you, because you might catch and stuff. You met somebody and they got that? Oh, yeah. Where you been? And how could you afford to go wherever you went to get that? And stuff like that. So it's a whole bunch of stuff involved in that. If you do come across one of those, and stuff, because they're still out there, but they're very in rural areas that people haven't even stepped foot into these tribes and stuff like that. And then they take care of their own, so you might catch a malaria somewhere or something like that, but it's in certain places. So could you afford to go to that place in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, where they might have that malaria or whatever that might be or something, or wherever it might be? It doesn't matter and stuff. I'm just saying that stuff is not common in the United States. And that's what I'm talking about, United States and stuff. So that's where that comes in. Good work, you guys, and stuff. So then, like I said, for the adolescents and everything, that's the human HPV vaccine. But then they also have this um, meningococcal vaccine or meningitis vaccine. That's better, meningitis. It sounds better and stuff because you don't know what the cockle and all of that stuff and the meninges and stuff like that. But that one, the meningitis vaccine is recommended for teens, college students, and some higher risk groups, and stuff that's out there turned up. And there's some turned up groups, and everything. I'm just saying, and they faith around and find out, and stuff because they're living that life like it's golden and everything. So moving on to adulthood and everything. And it depends on the age and the condition because some things are for seniors and some things are for, our, I want to say 30 on up group, and everything. And that would be, it could be earlier than 30, but 30 on up group. And that would be the flu shot. They always talk about the flu shot. They always talk about that at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. And I'm sick of it. Guess who just had a flu shot? Bam. Guess who didn't like it? Bam. But guess who got it anyway? Whoo. Okay. So I can't just talk about it. I got to be about it sometimes and everything. So I just had a flu shot. I didn't like it. I didn't say, oh, yes, that brightens my day. No, it hurted for a little while and stuff. I'm human. My immune system worked. It went over there and whooped some little tail and stuff like that and was like, yeah, I know you. I know your family and stuff. And I'm going to tear you up. And they had a little fight over there and it was a little sore. I could press on it and feel it, so I knew where it went in at, and stuff. So, yeah, I was familiar with it and stuff, and everything. And it's an annual for everyone 6 months or older to get a flu shot. And it's important for pregnant women and older adults and everything because they're more susceptible to a lower immunity because the pregnant women for the babies and the older people, the seniors, because their immune system, they are usually immunocompromised, and everything and stuff. So they need a little build up and everything. And their body can't be just trying to fight every little thing and stuff like that. So it's good for them to get this so that they build up a resistance and the immunity to it and stuff. And because if one gets it, one senior gets it, everybody at that senior daycare gets it, and everything and stuff. So that's why it's more pushed on them, but also on us. Because if our kids can get the flu, guess who else can get it? They can give it to us as a little gift on Christmas, or whenever and stuff. So you want to kiss on your little baby, you can't help it. They just so cute and everything and stuff. And yeah, and they give you a little something, a little package. Yeah. I be wanting to kiss on my little grandsons. They so cute. And I seen that little snail coming out there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay back and stuff. But you cute. I really want to kiss you. But I know that I got to stay back. Granny got to stay back and stuff. So I get it. I understand it completely. Another thing that adults get is called the Tdap. Yep, it hurt like I don't know what. Yes, I got one. And I remember it over and over and over because it hurts. And it is called tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. Never mind the kids got it and stuff. You get it again when you're an adult and stuff. And then every 10 years after. You see what I'm saying? And stuff. Now you got to wait 10 years and then boom, you get it again. 10 years, boom, you get it again. Hello, Miss Rose. Thank you for coming on, my dear. She said, hello, Charlene. Yes, glad to see you come on. I'm talking about vaccines, vaccinations, the shot, like above my head. You see all my little hypodermic needles and stuff And my little person up there that got the shot, and they said, ouch. That's where that comes from. So Tdap. And that one, of course, is tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. And I don't like it, but please get it. Tetanus, that's out there. If you step on a rusty nail, you get lockjaw and you get super sick and everything and stuff. So you probably will want to get this. It hurt, but only for a little while. Whereas the other hurt of getting the actual tetanus, diphtheria, or pertussis, that hurts way more than anything. And you could give it to everybody around you so that everybody is sick and dying with you and stuff. Yeah, it's not fun when everybody is toe up too, and stuff. So just remembering that. There's a shingles vaccine. And it's also known as the herpes zoster because shingles is a form of herpes and stuff. And it is a spinoff from chickenpox and everything. So people that had chickenpox and got over it, thank God, and everything in their childhood or something like that, you can get shingles. And shingles is like a whole nother animal and stuff. I don't even know why it should be a spinoff, but it's just like it drags you and stuff. And sometimes it can stay around for years and flare up and go away and flare up and go away and stuff. It's cold. It's cold. And stuff. I had a lady, just so happens I'm a hospice nurse also. So I was visiting a nursing home and stuff, and the lady had the shingles on her forehead. Now, mind you, I've never had chickenpox, let alone shingles or anything else and stuff. So I'm already scared, and I'm like, they're going to give me this patient, and because I'm a human being. I could be disgruntled, but they gave me this patient. She got shingle. Active shingle across right over there. Do you know the lady was out of her mind so bad that she peeled off her forehead and handed it to me? How nice was that? Would I always remember that happened like maybe about 6 years ago and stuff? Why do I still remember it? Because it traumatized the heck out of me and stuff. Could you imagine that? She handed me her forehead. She peeled that bad boy off. She had some other problems, of course. But I was like, I've never seen nobody hand me the skin off their forehead. She peeled herself and stuff. So I'm saying this to say that this is real. Medical is real. Nursing is real. Like this. So as I digress, I went into that and stuff because that was every time I see shingles, I think about that lady giving me her forehead and handed me a bloody piece of flesh and everything because she peeled it clean off. It was better than even keeping the shingles there and stuff. So that's how cold-blooded shingles is and everything. But I'm saying that to say that there's a vaccine for it. Guess who just got the shingles vaccine, but I've never had chickenpox or anything. But, yep, that was me. So I had one on this side, and then a week and a half later, I got one on this side. And that bad boy still hurt. It still hurt. So guess what? I'm not a fan of getting poked. Yeah, it hurt me too. My arm be hot and bothered and all of that good stuff and bad stuff or whatever and stuff. But guess what? For the greater good, boom, I took it. I regret it a little bit, just lightweight and stuff, but I took it, and stuff. And I'm saying all of this to say that it's important that we do these things. But the next couple vaccines, these are really important. And that will be your pneumococcal vaccine. So if anybody's heard of pneumonia, they have a vaccine for pneumonia. It is not the cure. So you can still get pneumonia, but if you get pneumonia with no vaccine, it's going to whoop somebody's tail. I already got it without the vaccine and stuff. I got it younger, and stuff. And guess what? It scars you for life just like COVID. It leaves a Freddy Krueger scratch across your lungs and everything and stuff. And I got it. And it was cold-blooded. I was it felt like I was coughing up pennies, like I was chewing on iodine or something like that and stuff. It was the worst. Because it's not just a common cold, it's not just the flu, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Thank you, Rosie Granny Allen said, ouch, 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 help us, Lord. Yeah, help us, Lord, because I was crying and calling Jesus and everything and stuff. So I'm telling you this because I'm an expert, because I got it. I messed around and found out and got that stuff and everything. But the long story short about it is when there's a vaccine for it to help you fight it faster, so that if you do your body visits pneumonia again, it's not whooping you like that. You might not even have to be hospitalized. You could stay at home, chicken soup, and stuff, and a few other things, some Vicks Vapor Rub and everything. Whereas that one almost put me in the hospital. But because I was younger when I got it, or young enough when I got it and stuff, I was able to fight it off. And that's the only thing you got going for you is your youth sometimes. And that's if you're not sick from a whole bunch of other stuff, and everything. But you have your youth to fight it off and everything. Other than that, I catch it now. I might have a problem. But didn't I tell you I got it? So I got the pneumococcal vaccine. But guess what age they want to give it to you at? You got to be 50 or beyond. And I'm only 21 plus 21 plus 10, something like that. But anyway, so saying all of that to say, I got to keep it kind of comical sometime and stuff like that. I got it and everything. Also, there's a hepatitis B. Hepatitis B, I told you the babies get it. Hepatitis B vaccination. Adults need to get that. So if you haven't got one, you should be, it would behoove you to get that and stuff. It's very important. That's your liver. Your liver detoxifies your body. It helps you fight off all types of things and helps you from getting super, super sick. And when your liver is no good, it's called cirrhosis. And a lot of people call it the alcoholic liver cirrhosis and everything. But it's not just that. It's just anytime there's an attack on your liver, there's a lot of different ones. And hepatitis means the inflammation of your liver. So hepato is liver, liver is hepato and stuff. So hepatitis is the inflammation of your liver. Your liver helps clean your body, clean your blood and everything, detoxify you. Toxics in the inside will kill you. So you need your liver in working order. And when it doesn't work, you will find out and stuff. It's the worst thing that can happen to you and everything. But hepatitis doesn't just have one hepatitis B. It has hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and some other different hepatitises and stuff, which is inflammation of the liver. But they have different ones in different parts of the liver that they work on, but they are all pretty much, can be deadly without the right equipment and medication and treatment. You can't just leave them and just, let them heal up. No, they don't heal up. They destroy you and everything. So you got to actually go and seek medical treatment and know that you have them and stuff. And they come from anything from intravenous drug use and all these different things that risky behavior, unprotected sex, and different things like that. So it's a whole bunch of things to give you different ones. Traveling to countries and stuff, third world countries and stuff, and drinking their water, you could get different kind of hepatitis because their water is not purified like us in the United States and stuff, where they have human fecal matter and animal fecal matter in the water, and then they have to take it and try to boil it, and then the water doesn't boil out and stuff like that. So even when you're traveling, you could catch other things, swimming around in the Amazon. I know that sounds exciting until you come home with a leech attached to you, or one of them pinworms that then crawled up one of your little parts and stuff and got in there, and stuff. So this is really important and stuff. So I'm saying all of this to say that these vaccines are very important because of what we do nowadays. It's crazy and stuff. But also, there's another one, the COVID. That's the risky one that everybody. Yeah, I heard it change your DNA. I heard that it help you grow a tail. They ain't gonna let you grow no tail. Like, yeah, they're not gonna let you. Well, I'm gonna grow one. When I get one, I'll make sure that I moon everybody and show them that I got a tail or not. Okay, so you guys gotta, if you're gonna come up with a conspiracy theory, I need you to find out what deep research is, and then I need you to go into deep research and find out why you don't want it. And not just because of something you heard from your neighbor or the other doctor that said, this does this, and find out why they did that. Find out what happened to them or something. It might be a gene in that doctor or that conspiracy theories family that caused them to go bad on this and stuff. So find out before you just totally just say, she didn't like it, so I'm not getting my kids that because I heard that it make your kids dumb. No, they might be just dumb because they're gonna be dumb, and stuff. But I'm just saying, and stuff. So find out what it is first that's making you not do it. Do the research, not the Charlene search and the nurse and the medical talk and layman's terms search. Do your own research, and then you come back and bring it to me, and I'll have you on as a guest, and we can find out exactly what's going on and stuff. That's what I give to you guys to do for me and everything. So I'm going to spend the rest of the talk and everything. Those are the main ones that, there's still a few more vaccines that you can get and stuff that are available to us and stuff and everything. And I didn't give you every single one of them, and I may give you a little bit more on them and everything, but I want to get to the more serious facts and everything before I get off and everything. So some of the more serious facts, because I think this is really important that I go over this with you, and then we'll go over some other stuff that we can do to help us with these vaccines. But here's some 6 common misconceptions about immunizations or vaccines or immunizations, whichever one you want to use, the shot. Okay. So how about this one? Vaccines be causing disease. Vaccines do not. This is the fact. Vaccines do not cause the disease that they're there to prevent. So you will never get a pneumococcal vaccine and it'll give you pneumonia. They will never give it. So they can never give you a COVID vaccine that gives you COVID. Because then everybody can be at home and say they got COVID and we supposed to shut down the whole United States or whatever, right? And so they can't do it. They can't afford it and stuff, so they can't give it to you. So I said vaccines cause disease. In fact, vaccines do not cause the disease, they prevent. So if I got a measles vaccine, they can't give me measles. That's defeating the purpose. If they give it to you, I got the flu shot, now I got the flu. No, you already had it. You already had it. But okay. And stuff. So then there's vaccines are unsafe. This is the fact. Vaccines are safe and undergo rigorous testing before being made available to the public, because we can sue and get millions of dollars. Yeah, they're not getting you sick. Then you can sue them and get money. Break me off. Yeah, they're not going to give you no money. They're not going to give you nothing that they going to get sued for and everything, okay? So vaccines contain toxic ingredients. No, vaccines contain ingredients at a dose that is much lower than the amount we are naturally exposed to in our environment. So it will be at a lower dose. They'll give you a derivative of flu, but they're not giving you flu. So you don't just catch that kind of flu that was in that and stuff like that. They're giving you some muscle memory for your body so that your immune system goes and fights the flu when it sees the flu. It's not going to give you the flu. And so it can't. They can't do that and everything. You can sue and everything. So vaccines cause autism. Yeah, my baby, I don't know what's wrong with my baby, but after they got the vaccine, all of a sudden they don't be speaking or something like that. You didn't think it might have been anything else? Anything else and everything? But there are no scientific evidence to support the claim that vaccines cause autism. So they don't have any facts or scientific precursors that this causes this, and everything. Like they're doing that with the Tylenol causing, women taking Tylenol while they're pregnant, and then now their babies have ADHD. No, your kid was just gonna be bad. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding and stuff. No, I'm just saying, if you're gonna research that and you like, I ain't taking no more Tylenol because they could have gave my baby this or something like that, at least find out in deep research. And yeah, don't believe maybe the current president saying that and stuff like that and stuff. Do your research so you can help your president out, or something like that. But do your research. That's all I'm saying and everything. So then natural immunity is better than the vaccine immunity. Who said that? You must live where is Dr. CB your neighbor or one of these very healthy men, young men, strapping young men on here that be having papayas and eating aloe vera plants straight off the ground and all of that stuff? Where do they live? It looks lush and everything. My grass is yellow outside and stuff. So where they live at, so that I could say that, and stuff, I believe them. Because it might be true for them, but how at Trader Joe's that your fruit came from the same place they fruit came from, and everything? Because that's probably why theirs work so good and yours don't. Where's the acai berry at? Where's sea moss from? Is it from the sea? Did you find out where sea moss comes from? And stuff, because you got to find that out and stuff before you start being like, yep, I live by sea moss and these little drops and stuff and berberines and all of that stuff. Find out where they come from. Y'all do the deep research and I'll have you on as a guest. But you better do some deep research and I'm going to do it too. We're going to come on together, and stuff so that we, because guests might not reflect what the host reflects, and stuff. So I'm just saying that. I'm just saying. Okay. And stuff. So then vaccines cause autism. There is no scientific evidence of that. Natural immunity is better than vaccine immunity. Immunity from a natural infection is not necessarily better than immunity from a vaccine, because a vaccine is helping train your body to be better at fighting it. Your body don't know what it's fighting when it just is introduced to it. So actually natural is more dangerous, and that's the kind you die from and everything. At least if you got a little bit of memory, muscle memory, you got a better chance at fighting it better than if your body don't even know what it is. So it start killing you. It killed the whatever the foreign body is, and you too. Tear you down, and everything. And then it be tired. And then you immunocompromised, meaning you don't have no immune system to fight off anything else that show up and everything. So I don't know. And so vaccines are unnecessary. Vaccines save millions of lives. This is the truth. It's not that it's unnecessary. It saves millions of lives each year and are necessary to prevent disease. And then one more thing. Explanation. Vaccines are safe and effective, and they are given to prevent disease, if that makes sense. Now, I want to give you 10 more facts because a lot of people do not like vaccines and they don't want their kids to have them and everything. But why? Did you at least do the research before you deprive your kid of having that? Or they're going to be the sickest one in the classroom. And they're going to be sick from every single thing when these other kids is going to get over it and be back in class the next day or the next 2 days from now. And everything and stuff. Rosie Granny Allen said, yes, indeed. Well said. Thank you. Thank you, mommy. And stuff. So here are 10 facts about vaccines. Vaccines are safe. Vaccines contain a weakened or killed version of viruses or bacteria. So they can't cause the disease they prevent. If that makes sense. They can't cause what they're trying to prevent, or they're trying to boost your immune system too. Vaccines are effective. Vaccines prevent millions of deaths each year from diseases like measles, tetanus, and diphtheria, which is the diarrhea one and everything. So then we got vaccines are cost effective. Immunizations, that's my little immunization card. Don't mind what it say. It don't say nothing. I just blah, 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 blah. But I was trying to say like a little card. Remember those little yellow cards? I know people remember those. It was like a little trifold. And it's about this big and stuff when you fold it out. And they wrote the name and a date and stuff. I used to love giving Michael shots and Brittany shots and stuff like that. Oh, those are my kids, by the way. And stuff, getting their little shots and stuff. And they sign them off and stuff. And then they could get into school, and all of that stuff and everything. But whatever. But anyway, immunizations is one of the most cost-effective public health tools we have today. Vaccines are important for global health. That means the whole wide world, Craig. And vaccines are a key tool in preventing and controlling infectious diseases and outbreaks like COVID. We wasn't ready, huh? I know I wasn't ready. I have neuropathy in both of my feet, not diabetic neuropathy, but neuropathy in both of my feet. It played like it was plantar fasciitis, and I faked around and found out by getting a nerve conduction study that I have neuropathy in both of my feet. But thank God that I put myself in the know and found out that there's simple vitamins that I can take to help lessen it. So now I can walk blocks instead of falling out after I walk down 3 stairs and everything. So that's the difference and stuff. So it is, if you make yourself known and get to know these things, you can actually help yourself, even sometimes by accident and everything. So then going to vaccines are important for individuals. Vaccines can help you stay healthy and protect your family and your community. That's important. Your household and everything. You don't want everybody sick in your household and they go back and forth and keep teeter-tottering amongst everybody and stuff. You want to be safe and you want your household safe. And Lysol is not going to do it by itself. You got to get some vaccines. Vaccines are important for children. Healthy children are more likely to go to school, learn, and have better job prospects because they didn't went to school and they wasn't absent all the time because they sick. And then they get their parents sick, and then nobody can pay the rent because they sick, and everybody's sick every single week. Okay. And then vaccines have side effects, but they are usually minor compared to what you can get if you faith around and find out. And that would be redness and swelling, feeling like a Jurassic Park dinosaur bit both my arms off and chewed them up and then put them back and stuck them back on my arm and stuff like that. I am still a human being. So just because I'm a nurse and I get the shots and everything and the vaccines, guess what? I didn't say they didn't hurt. I just said I get them because I know the difference between not getting them and getting them. And if I had to fight it all by myself with no backup, yeah, I want backup. I want somebody else on my team, like a vaccine floating around in my body that's remembering you got to really fight on this one. You got to get down. Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, so then we're going to vaccines are available through insurance. Most private health insurance plans cover vaccines at no extra cost. Vaccines are available through programs. The Vaccines for Children program and the Vaccines for Adult program provide no-cost vaccines for eligible people. Yes. And then vaccines are important for preventing antimicrobial resistance. That means being allergic to antibiotics. You mean to tell me you done gave me penicillin, and that still couldn't fight it, and penicillin, and that couldn't fight it, and disacillin and tetracyclines and so on, cyclin, whatever, doxycycline and whatever they got and stuff, gynolotrimin cyclins and stuff like that. You mean to tell me all of them, and I'm resistant to all of them? So that's why you need the vaccines and everything and stuff, so that you won't become resistant to every single thing and stuff, because the vaccines help you fight it before you even get that far. You know, these are a lot of bloodborne diseases, and they hard to fight, and you be literally on your deathbed and everything. So you want to make sure that you get something to give you a fighting chance. That's all I'm saying. And vaccines protect against many diseases. Vaccines protect against diseases like COVID-19, hepatitis B, influenza, pneumococcal, measles, mumps, rubella, diphtheria, meningitis, human papilloma virus, or HPV, and all these other ones. All of those. And you still wouldn't say yes? Say yes to something. So I wanted to say real quick, and I'm not gonna tell you in detail what they are, but I just want to let you know these are some of the most common vaccines. I'm just gonna say the name just to let you know how many is out there. And that's why it takes a lifetime of getting shots from birth, 0 hours to now, and stuff, and further. Chickenpox vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, diphtheria vaccine, flu or influenza vaccine, hepatitis A vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, HIV vaccine, not HIV like HIV AIDS and stuff, but HIV vaccine, which is like a meningitis and bacterial infections, HPV vaccine, measles vaccine, meningitis vaccine, mpox vaccine, mumps vaccine, pneumococcal vaccine, polio vaccine, rotavirus vaccine, RSV, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine, rubella vaccine, that's the German measles, shingles vaccine, that's the herpes zoster, spinoff from chickenpox, tetanus vaccine, that's the lockjaw, when you get tetanus, step on a rusty nail or something like that and stuff. Whooping cough vaccine is also called also called pertussis. So these are important. You see how many I read off? You don't want to find out what those are. So if you are against vaccines, find out which ones you can take and take those at least. And if you don't even want to take those, at least do your deep research, so when you're planning your funeral, and stuff like that, that you can know that I didn't want these because I don't think they natural and stuff. Well, I don't know of anybody that that's perfectly religious like that. And I just depend on just the sun and the rain and the moon and the stars to get me well and stuff. If that's you, that's okay. That could be you, but make sure you do deep research on it and stuff so you can make sure that you are making a wise decision or not and everything. So I'm ending with, okay, my take home message, and then I'll end it and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this and stuff because it was very important, very, very important. And just really take a look at my board and all the different vials of medicines and different things and the immunization cards and all of that stuff because they really count for something. And it's a reason why this has been around your whole life, your kids' whole life, your, so and so, your grandkids' whole life, and so on and so forth and stuff. It's a big deal. And so Sandra says, T and I enjoyed your podcast, learned a lot tonight, but must go. See you tomorrow morning. Let me know what time I can come. Okay, all right. Thank you, Sandra and stuff, and thank you, T, for joining. I appreciate you. I'm glad you guys got to listen in on this. It was everything vaccine and immunizations and why they're important and who gets them and why they get them so early and so late and everything and stuff. But the biggest thing is knowing that they are important, and anything that you're against, always go to the back of your mind, no matter what it is, even if it's psychiatric. I'm talking about mental health and it's psychiatric medicine and everything. At the end of the day, go and research all your symptoms first. Find out why you don't want to take this, or you don't want to take that, or you can't take this, or you can't take that. At least find out, because you might be causing undue harm to yourself by just going by the conspiracy. My neighbor didn't like it, so I don't either. And I like my neighbors, so they don't like it, I don't like it. It can't be that simple. And it can't be, I didn't get the flu shot because the last time they gave me the flu shot, I caught the flu right after. I think it was the same day that I got the flu shot, because they be giving you a little bit of flu in there. It doesn't work that way. Okay, you guys and stuff. So thank you for coming on. Make sure that you go to my YouTube. It's streaming live from YouTube also at the same time. And go on there and like and tag and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. If you get me on Facebook, it's Charlene Nurse Allen on Facebook, and it's my profile's made public so that you could come on that way. And also I'm going to be showing up on TikTok and Instagram and all these other good little places and stuff. So y'all gonna see me all around everywhere and stuff. And Madeline says, yes, good info. Loved it. Keep up the good work. Charlene. All right. Thank you, Nurse Charlene. Yes. And stuff. Thank you, Madeline. And thank you guys for coming on. And one more thing before I go off, and that is, vaccines are one of the safest, most effective ways to prevent serious infectious diseases. Routine childhood and adult immunization schedules are updated regularly by the public health authorities and the CDC. Most people benefit from following the recommended schedule, and exceptions are handled by clinicians or your doctors and stuff that know more about your individualized health. If you have concerns, bring them up with the doctor, your doctor, that's been taking care of you all this time, that knows so much about you, because they'll know when one might not work for you. And then you don't have to take that one. But other ones that will work for you, and you should take those, and everything. It's not a one size fits all and everything, and everybody's body is different. So just make sure you respect your body, protect your body, and allow your body to have a fighting chance at keeping you alive. So you're alive for you and your family. I know I want to be alive. I know you do too, because you wouldn't be on here getting educated. So as I end my podcast, I thank you all for informing yourself. Make sure that if you did come in towards the middle or something and you got a little lost for a second and stuff, you can always watch the replay. It just won't have the going back and forth with me and everything. And you can watch that at your convenience and stuff. So I know other people have other places to go and stuff, and that is totally fine. I'm going to still do me and get on here every chance I get, unless time doesn't permit on a certain day and stuff. But I'm on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. sharp. And I'm here to give you the good stuff and just help you, because you never know. You may save somebody's life or your own by accident and everything. Maria said, thank you, and great info. Thank you, Maria, for joining. And remember, your body is a snitch. Believe it. Believe it. It's the best one. And a snitch means a symptom. And a symptom is a headache, a fever, blurry eyes, dizziness. That's your body snitching. It's saying, hey, come on, I'm doing some pain. That's your body snitching. You're not supposed to be in pain naturally, just walking around every day. Even if you're used to it and stuff, you're not supposed to be in pain. That's up to you to do something about it and everything. But that's your body snitching. And if you don't pay attention to that pain, that dizziness, that blurry vision and stuff, it's going to turn into something else. And then you might not be able to fight it off. And we might be visiting you at the funeral home and everything. So we got to be serious. We got to take our lives. We got to take our health serious, because we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. And believe me, just because I'm a nurse and I'm saying, you better get your shots. I don't like the shots. You guys, I don't like them either. They don't feel good. I don't like nobody taking my blood. They're going in my vein. I don't care if it is easy or if I'm a hard stick. I don't like it. But I'm going to get it done, whatever it takes. And stuff. My family need me. They need me around, and everything. So I'm going to have to do whatever I have to do. And if I encourage other people to do that, I have to do and taking into account, I have to get that mammogram. I have to get that flu shot. I have to get that whatever it is and stuff. I have to get my eyes checked. I got to get my ears checked. I got to get my nose checked. I got to do everything you got to do. The only difference between me and you, because we're both humans, is I tell on it. I found the secret sauce. My body is a snitch. It's going to tell on me. From the time I was born, my body was snitching. It didn't like this or that and stuff, and it told on it. Okay? And stuff. So ending with a couple more comments. Rosetta Granny Allen said, I always love the pictures behind you. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Amen. Much love. Thank you, Rosie. Much love to you. Amen. And then cousin Antoinette said, as always, good job, cousin. Good information. And and each and every week. Oh, thank you so much. And keep up the good work. All right. Thank you. She said, keep it up. Good work. All right. And stuff. And I'm going to be ending now and stuff, but I thank you guys, all that was able to stay on and stuff. I appreciate you. And remember, you just got a whole blessing in this and stuff. It's a lesson. And even if it doesn't fit you at this very moment, it fits somebody else that you love. It fits your grandchild. It fits your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, your uncle, your auntie, somebody that you love, your neighbor, somebody you work for, somebody. It fits somebody. So even if you're informed, now you're informed and stuff. It's your responsibility to go out there and tell somebody else what they can do, or direct them to the site and tell them, have a look. and everything. All my lives, even from the past, are all on YouTube under Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And also, you can find me on Facebook. For people that know, my Facebook handle is Charlene Nurse Allen. And I've been on there and everything and stuff. And I'm getting this word out and stuff. This is what God has given me, and I'm putting it out there. I'm putting the word out there. You now on alert. You're all now on the roll call, and stuff. So now, any chance you get, I understand life be life, and because there's gonna be a time where I can't get on and everything and stuff like that. But other than that and stuff, you're gonna see some good stuff in between and everything. And look out for the clips and all of that stuff. And like I said, I'm gonna be visiting a bunch of different sites and get myself ready and stacked up, because I'm gonna be a force to be reckoned with and stuff. This is me. This is what I do. I love it, and I love to teach. And I didn't even realize it until I started teaching and everything. So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for your participation, each and every one of you. Even if you just said hi, that was encouragement enough for me and stuff. You take care, and take care of your family, and help me, continue to help me, help you, help yourself and your loved ones. All right, you guys, I'm leaving on off.